Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Vinit. I'm not sure if you already know me, but just to introduce myself, I am a technical leader at Cisco Systems, working with Cisco for past 10 years, and I'm here to share some of the knowledge that I've gained over the years with you. So, to my first recording session. Today I'm going to begin with how to deploy or configure segment routing on Cisco Nexus switches. We are going to focus on Nexus 9000 because that's one of the common platforms where segment routing is being deployed on Nexus switches. So here we go. Most of the devices in this topology that you see on the screen are already pre-configured because I use that for writing my blog posts. But I added a new device, which is NX7. We'll be looking into that on how to configure segment routing onto that. Okay, so the switch is already configured with the IP addresses. So we do show IP interface brief. We can see the IP addresses, the loopback, and the Ethernet 1/1 already configured, and we'll see how to configure various features on it. So we get into config mode. The first step to get into or start beginning with and configuring segment routing is first decide what all features you need and what all features are you going to configure. So in this case, we are going to begin with the IGP. So our routing protocol, the IGP protocol we are using is IS to IS. So we say feature IS to IS, and we enable this feature. Now, I am using a Nexus 9000D virtual switch, so you might get these warning messages because of the license. But otherwise, if you're using physical hardware and you have proper licenses, you won't be getting any of these messages. So you can ignore these messages. For segment routing, the first step is to install the Mpls feature set. By default, Mpls feature is not available to be configured. So we first go ahead and install the feature set. So we run the command install feature set Mpls. Then we enable the feature set. So feature set Mpls. And then after the feature set has been enabled, the next step is to enable the feature itself. So we say feature Mpls segment routing. If you perform a question or add a question mark after feature Mpls, you will see the different options that are available with you. One other feature that you might be interested in configuring is feature Mpls OAM. This is when you're going to perform any OAM-related activities related to Mpls. So now we have enabled IS to IS, we have enabled the Mpls feature set and segment routing. The next step is we go ahead and enable routing protocol on this node. So we say router IS to IS SR. We name the process. We configure the net ID 49.000.000.000.000.000. Metric style Y is default on Nexus. You don't have to do anything different. We define the circuit type as IS type level 2, and we enable the address family IPv4 unicast and see what all we need. So under the router, the address family IPv4 unicast, we need to enable segment routing. But before we go there, let's just configure the IGP. And we exit out of the router ISIS process. We get under loopback 0. We say IP router ISIS SR. You don't really need passive interface loopback 0 on Nexus. If you configure IP router ISIS SR, it works. Then we get into the interface Ethernet 1/1 and say IP router ISIS SR and ISIS network point-to-point. All right, no shit. I get onto Nexus switch 5 as well because you're configuring this link. So on Nexus 5, I go ahead show IP. Oh wow, a bit fast. Show IP interface brief, and there we have our interface. Ethernet 1/3 interface Ethernet 1/3 IP router ISIS SR and ISIS network point to point. So at this point we should have our ISIS adjacency up. Show ISIS adjacency. See that here. Let's see. Show ISIS adjacency. Okay, yeah. So we have our level 2 adjacency up with Nexus 5, and we should be receiving all the routes in the routing table via the ISIS IGP, and we can see all the routes. At least these are the loopback interfaces configured on all the different nodes. Since we have the IGP running, there's no LGP that we need to configure, but remember, one of the key tasks for segment routing is to make sure the Mpls is enabled on the interfaces. We'll do that in a bit, but let's get to segment routing configuration. For configuring segment routing, we get on to the router ISIS process, say address family IPv4 unicast, say segment routing Mpls. That's it. Okay, and then we get on the global configuration mode and say segment routing MPLS. There's a section of connected prefixed map. This is the section where you are enabling the loopback, the IGP prefixes. Now the prefixes, if you read more about it, are usually your loopback addresses, your globally within your segment routing domain allocating an index ID, which is shared via the routing protocol itself, the IGP itself. So we say connected prefixed map and address family IPv4, and under that we say 7.7.7.7/32 absolute 16,007. If you don't do this way, you can also say 7777/32 and say index, and you specify the index value, which in this case can be 7. The absolute value 16,007 or the index 7 would mean the same thing, because the label, the prefixed value is being calculated by 16,000 or the beginning number of the sRGB, the segment routing global block, plus the index value. If you have configured the index value, the label will be populated as 16,000 plus the index value. So in this case, since we are already configuring the absolute, we don't really need the index. So we are good at this point, and I believe we should be exchanging the prefixes. So we can say show Mpls, switching, and we can see here 16,001 to 16,006. They're all allocated. We can also look at the command show IS to ISIS segment routing sys, and we should see all the prefixes here. And 7, since it's the local, you will have the flag local attached to it. Now, if I look at, now we have the labels, and we are by default hoping that the MPLS ping would work. It will not. The regular ping will work. It will not. So, say for an example, I try to ping, say, ping 6666, source interface loopback 0. The ping will not work, right? Why is it's not going to work? Because the packets are supposed to be forwarded with the label, but the interface is not enabled for label forwarding. So the next step is we enable the interface for label forwarding. We get into the config mode and say interface Ethernet 1/1 MPLS IP forwarding, and we run the same command on Nexus 5 Ethernet 1/3 interface Ethernet 1/3 MPLS IP forwarding. Okay, And now, if I go back to Nexus 7 and run the ping command, it will work. Why? Because the packets that are flowing now are MPLS labeled. If you want to see that, how it's happening, we can actually run a Wireshark capture on the GNS3 tool to see what's happening with the packet, or when what's happening when the packet is flowing. So let's move the window aside and see what we have. Okay. Um, okay. So I say count, just two packets. Okay. So if you see here 77726, if you see the label header is 16,006. And it's going with the label 16,006. This is the prefixed value that was allocated. The moment the packet reaches node 5, it will box the label and send the packet to NX6, right? So the packet forwarding concepts do not change in segment routing. It's still labeled packet forwarding, label-based packet forwarding, and the label-based lookups as well. It's just that how the network can be programmed using the controller, and the forwarding can happen using segment routing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please share in your comments below, and there'll be more coming. Thank you.